Hello friends, welcome to bisptrainings.com. My name is Sumit and in this video I'm going to explain how to set up Jenkins on Linux operating system. So here I'm using Ubuntu Linux operating system and I would like to set up Jenkins onto that. So let's have a look how to do that. So that's my Linux operating system. And the very first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to load the terminal for setting up Linux, Jenkins on Linux. So I open terminal and in terminal I pass a command sudo apt get update. So this will basically for installing all the remaining updates. So this will, if any new updates will be there, so it will download and install all those updates. So all the required updates has been done successfully. After that, I'm going to pass a command to set up Git. Git basically it's a set of plugin which is mandatory for setting up Jenkins on an operating system. So I pass command sudo apt get install Git. So if you have already passed the command earlier, it will quickly rebuild the package. It will quickly upgrade. If any upgradation is required, it will update it, else it will simply give a message that the Git is already the newest version. As you can see here, I'm getting Git is already the newest version because I have already configured, I have already set up installed Git plugins onto my Linux operating system. Now next, to set up Jenkins we need to have a web server installed on our system, either Apache or Nginx. So in this scenario, in my case, I'm going to set up Nginx web server. So for that, I pass command sudo apt get install Nginx. So this will be the web server which I'm going to use for working on Jenkins. So if you are installing it first time, again it will take some time to set up Nginx on system, whereas because I have already configured, I have already installed the web server, so I got a message that is already the newest version, so you do not need to set up again. It will not take time to set up the Nginx on this operating system. Now to test whether the web server is working successfully or not, so I pass a command service Nginx and status. So as you can see here, the current status is active, so it's running right now. It means my server is successfully running. Now to set up Jenkins, we require few commands. So we can visit a web and copy paste the commands from there. We can write down the command by ourselves as well, but just to save the time, we can visit a URL, and from that URL we can copy paste the command into our terminal, and that will save our time. So for that, I click on browser, open browser, and here I pass a command install Jenkins Ubuntu and click on this link wiki.jenkinsci.org/display/Jenkins installing plus Jenkins plus on plus Ubuntu. That's the URL. Now in this URL, you see I'm getting 4 messages are coming. So I will be going to execute these 4 messages one by one, and then it will successfully set up Jenkins on my Linux operating system. So the first command, I copy this command from here. This is for adding the key and the source list to the app for Jenkins. So I copy this command and minimize it, and here paste it and enter. I got a message here, okay. So it has been added successfully. You will simply get this message. Now next, the second command. So this is basically for the source list, to configure the source list. So copy and terminal, and I paste it on terminal and enter. So it's successfully done. It will not show any message and all. It's done now. Now third is for getting updates. If any updates are required, so again I pass this message, paste it, update. So if any updates are required, it will download the updates one by one, and it will install the updates. It will configure the updates with the existing solution, and finally I will be going to pass a command to set up Jenkins. So to set up Jenkins, the command is sudo apt get install Jenkins and enter. So I got a message that it should be requiring, after this operation, 69.2 MB of additional disk may be required. So I press yes, and it will start configuring Jenkins on my system. So it will be setting up Jenkins, setting up daemon, processing triggers, and so on. So it will take some time, and the Jenkins has been configured successfully because all the libraries I have already downloaded. So I do not need to download them again. So the libraries which are required for setting up Jenkins, or the plugins which are required for setting up Jenkins, they are already stored in my repository. So that's why it did not download again. But in your case, if you are installing it first time, then it may take some time. So now you see the Jenkins has already been installed. So by default, the Jenkins installed on 8080 port. Now to check the status of the Jenkins service, I pass a command here, service Jenkins status. And you can see I got a message active. It means the Jenkins server has successfully updated. So it's working perfectly fine. So then the Jenkins server has been up. Now to run Jenkins, because for this we will requiring a web browser, because it would be going to work on as a web application. So I click on web browser, and as I've told you, the default port is 8080. So I pass a command 127.0.0.1:8080, and it will connect to the local host for the web server which we have, for the Nginx server which we have, all web server which we have already installed or configured earlier. So I pass this message and pass this command and URL and enter, and you see I'm getting a message Jenkins here. So now you can see here, after I pass this message service Jenkins status, it shows that the Jenkins has successfully installed and the service has been activated. Now I would like to run Jenkins, and to run Jenkins I open my browser, and in browser I pass a command 127, that's the URL 0.0.1 colon 8080. 8080 is the default port for Jenkins to be installed. When I press enter, it will take some time, and it will throw a message that the Jenkins is logged right now, we need to unlock it, and says to ensure Jenkins is securely set up by the administrator, a password has been written to the log and this file on the server. So the password has been written on a file, and I need to provide the password here. I need to provide my password. So what's the password, and how do we get the password? How do we get the default password for this particular Jenkins right now? And after that, once we logged in successfully, we would be able to create new user. We would be able to create new user and register a password. So to get the password, I open a new terminal, and in this terminal, I pass a message command sudo cat, and copy this link, copy this and paste it here, and when I press enter, it will ask for a password, and that's the default password for this registration. So I copy this password from here and paste here. And now we would be able to log in into Jenkins. So I click on continue. I'll say update, and let's wait for few seconds and it will give us an interface. It will show us an interface. So you can see I got a new interface. It says custom Jenkins and the plugins are required for to support many different needs. So either we can select the plugins manually, which will be suitable as per our need, or I would like to Jenkins to be set up the plugins automatically for the plugins which are most useful. So I'll go with the first option. I click on install suggested plugins, and now the Jenkins will start downloading and install the following plugins which is required for working on it. So it may take some time, and once all of them becomes green, then it means that we have successfully set up the Jenkins, and after that it will show us the welcome screen. So all these are various plugins which are required for working on Jenkins. So it will download and set up automatically by itself. That's why for setting up Jenkins, uh, internet is very much required. So you should have a net connection. You should be connected with internet while setting up Jenkins on your operating system. So now when all the plugins has been installed successfully, the required plugins has been installed successfully, now it is required to create the first admin user. So I'm going to create my first admin user named as BISP solutions, and the password. So either we can keep the same password or I'll change the password. So I change the password as I change my password BISP12345. BISP12345. Full name BISP solutions, and email address I provide my mail ID. And now there are two options. Either we can click on continue as admin or we can click on save and finish. So I click on save and finish, and I got a message that Jenkins is ready and the Jenkins setup is complete, so we can start using Jenkins. So I click on this button, start using Jenkins, and now we are on the interface for where we can have the various options and we can manage our Jenkins interface. For example, I'm getting option here build history. So if I click on build history, I would be able to know the build history, people, the users, the include users, new item. We can create a new item. We can create projects and external jobs or folders by going into new items. Credentials can be checked from here, the credentials. Also we have got the, if I get back to my home page, there is an option here, welcome to Jenkins, create new jobs to get started. And now while clicking on this, we would be able to create new jobs. Along with this, apart from this, we have one option here named as manage Jenkins, and if I click on manage Jenkins, I would be able to manage my Jenkins system. So from here I would be able to manage the configure system. There's an option manage plugins. So I click on manage plugins and we can remove or update the existing plugins as required. So manage Jenkins and configure global security, configure credentials, reload configuration from disk, system logs, script console, about Jenkins. So by going into this, we can find out the information about Jenkins. So these are the various information, like what's the version we are using. So we are working on Jenkins 2.7.2 version, and we have manage nodes, manage users. So by going into manage users, we have an option BSP, that's the default user. If I want to create a new user, I can click on create user. I can set up a new user from here, and I can let other users also to access my Jenkins interface. So that's all in this video, and in this video I explain how to set up Jenkins on Ubuntu operating system. I hope you found this video interesting. If that's so, don't forget to press the like button. You can subscribe our YouTube channel for more information, more videos on Jenkins and DevOps operations. Keep watching. Have a nice day. Goodbye.